All right, everyone, welcome back. In class, we're going to be doing an assignment which deals with the pros and cons of a particular topic. So, if you remember in the past unit, we did the vegan diet, and then they gave you an article about, single parenting. So, in this particular assignment, if you guys go to page 103, it gives you the method or the guidelines of how to correctly do the um, pros and cons list, right? So, for example, it gives you some guidelines like to have a clear thesis and a clear conclusion. So, what are you talking about, right? Not to make it too long, make it short and to the point. Try to keep the reader interested by avoiding repetition and try to use different verbs. I would recommend that we use the verbs without. You guys probably remember like outsourcing, outrunning, outlasting, and some other ones in Unit 11. All right, so if you look at it, guys, page 103, it gives you an example about homeschooling, and they give you the introductory paragraph. Sorry, and it tells you about homeschooling, right? That it's becoming a growing trend in the United States and in other countries, right? It says, nevertheless, it is unclear whether observed benefits are actually caused by homeschooling as opposed to other factors. So, if you recall, in the unit, they give you an example about homeschooling as well, basically saying that a lot of the children that go through homeschooling end up with better results, right? So, in our case, we're going to do something similar, but not exactly the same. If you continue on where it's in paragraph 1 or section 1 in 103, it says, among the many reasons given for homeschooling are the ability to, and boom, they give you a list, right? So in this particular one, they're giving you the pros of homeschooling. So for example, it gives you customize the curriculum and offer more individual attention, experiment with different methods, enhance family relationships, provide a safe environment for learners, impart a particular set of values and beliefs. So in this particular case, they're giving you that list on the pros, right? Now, this particular example gives you 3 different lists. Now, in our assignment, it's only going to be 2. Now, the negative part or the con part of homeschooling, again, it gives you nevertheless, potential arguments against homeschooling are just as numerous. So it gives you the opposite side of homeschooling. For example, time, organizing lessons, teaching, giving tests, and planning field trips are labor-intensive activities. Costs, buying the new teaching tools, computer equipment, and books can eat into the family budget. So it gives you 4 cons of homeschooling. Now, if you continue to the end, again, guys, this is page 103 in your book. It gives you the conclusion, right? The how to end this particular report. So it says, I was homeschooled and it wasn't for me. Every child is a unique individual, as is every parent who homeschools. A child's needs and how optimum learning can be achieved remain the overriding concern. So he completely concludes his report on homeschooling. Now, class, again, our topic, if you go to E, you are going to write a report around 280 words that includes 2 to 3 lists. Now, remember, in our case, it's only going to be 2, right? So, our topic is very, very simple, something that we have been dealing with for the past year. Now, I think I told you in class how when we got to this section previously, I had made a survey inside the classroom, said, okay, how many of you guys would want to, in the future, take classes from home? The topic came up considering being at home and getting lessons at home. Never did we imagine what the last year held for us, which was basically not homeschooling, but distance learning, which is a whole different ball game because we didn't have a choice in this factor. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to write a report on the pros and cons of distance learning. Okay, so there are many pros and many cons of distance learning. Obviously, again, we didn't do this by choice. It was a necessity of what is going on in the world right now. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to write a report, right? And you're going to start off with your introduction, your thesis, of the pros and the cons of distance learning, right? And at the very end, you're going to conclude it at the very bottom with what your conclusion is. All right, so what would be an example of a pro and what would be an example of a con? You're welcome to use this. Obviously, try to, there are way more, ways of expressing the pros and cons of distance learning. So for number one, the one that comes up to mind, and I think I mentioned to either I think it was a Saturday class about how, yeah, it was a Saturday class that, we wake up at a certain hour and some of us are still groggy and sleepy, right? And I was telling you guys, well, since we have the distance learning, we technically just wake up, take a shower, and go to class, right? And that's it. And then normally that would be, you could consider it a pro, that you are basically not going anywhere. You're saving gasoline. You're saving your time, that you don't have to, get up super early in order to catch the bus or take a cab or even drive yourself. So, one of them was the fact that you are already ready to go. All you have to do is flip on your computer. That would be a pro. And we talked about that. Now, the other one, a con. What would be a con? Well, I think one of the big things about the cons is just the fact that you miss the camaraderie. I think one of the things that a year ago, before this started, most of the students in class said, well, going to a computer and taking the class is really good, but at the same time, you really miss that human factor where you go to class and you talk with your teacher, you talk with your friends, you meet up new friends, just the whole experience, right? And that is taken away with distance learning. So I mean, that's a pro and a con. So I would advise to you guys is if you go again, look at what they show you in your book. They give you a list. In most of them, I think 1, 2, 3, there are 5. So I think a good number to have as pros and cons are 5, right? So you would do that, and you would turn it in. It's already specified when the due date is, right? So I think that would be the explanation for today as far as what I expect from you guys. You're going to provide the list, 5 and 5, intro, conclusion, and you're going to turn it in, right? So, but obviously, if you have any more questions, you can email me, or just looking at the guide for page 103, it's very clear. Before I forget, one of the things that the book suggests, and I would suggest to you too, is that if you look at, for example, the first part, which are the pros, they start off with infinitives, right? So, for example, it says homeschooling offers the ability to, and then bullet point, customize the curriculum, bullet point, experiment with different methods. So in that particular case, they are starting with infinitives. But you can also start with nouns or verbs. If you go down to the cons of the book on page 103, it starts with a noun. For example, it starts time, right? Cost, effort, patience, and then it starts off with a verb. For example, organizing lessons, buying the newest teaching tools, ensuring adequate opportunities. So as you can see, you can use both ways, right? You can start off with the infinitive, maybe for the pros, and you can continue on with the cons with noun and a verb. All right, guys, so I hope that this is helpful. Keep watching for the next assignment, which is going to be about a persuasive essay. I'm going to be uploading that pretty soon, even though we're still away from that. Again, have a good week. Stay safe if you go out, and I will see you in class.